Now back to Trevor Linden in his own words.
I've said this for a few years. I think at the time, it was one of those things that kind of had to happen. We'd gone through a major change from an organizational standpoint in ownership and management, coaching, and I always, there's the saying of everything's happened for a reason, and I always say that had I never been traded, I would have never been able to come back. I was surprised, definitely happy. I think the timing was a little strange. I maybe thought something last year was going to happen, but it didn't, so it was very good news, obviously. For me to be able to come back to this city and this team was a special time for me, and I joined a really great group of guys. Brian was managing, Dave was was assistant, Mark Crawford was the coach, so I got to come back, on its upswing, and we had some great years, and so I feel pretty fortunate that the way things worked out, as hard as it was to get traded. I mean, it was not easy, but everything works out. A good friend of mine, Mark James, approached me in February and kind of said, listen, a friend of mine is looking for a partner. Would you be interested in doing this mountain bike race? And I kind of thought about it for a bit, and it was an 8-day stage race which started in a little town called Mittenwald, Germany. And we raced through Austria and spent 5 days in the Dolomites in northern Italy. So I was kind of hemming and hawing, and I finally just said, you know what, I'm in, count me in. And once I committed, it was all good, and it was fantastic. It was fun to be kind of in a different environment, and the whole cycling community, it's a different crowd, so you kind of get talking about great bike rides or great areas to ride, and it's a whole different world. So that's kind of appealing. I went over with Mark James, who's 52, and my partner was 49 years old. Super fit guys, and we just had a blast. And so I really look at those guys as kind of mentors, because they're 50 years old and doing these incredibly tough stage races, and for them, age is just a number, right? So, and I think you really have to believe that. And so I've always wanted to kind of stay young at heart. The cycling was fun. The views were incredible. The camaraderie was great. There was 1,200 riders in this race, mostly Europeans. So we just had a blast. It was so much fun. I look at myself as a pretty young guy still. So it's an amazing thing about being a professional hockey player. You go from a very old hockey player to a very young guy very quickly. It's called, once you retire, you go to being a very young guy. So it's something I obviously think about a lot more now, and think about what that will be like. Obviously, it's such a big part of your life. It's just a fabric of what you do, what you think about, how you prepare, and so it's going to be a challenge, but that's what I guess that's what life's all about. I've enjoyed the last few years, and I enjoy being part of this group, and I enjoy working with and seeing some of the young guys that have been drafted recently and see their kind of progression. That's always fun every year. How you doing? How come you guys aren't in school? You gotta have passion for what you're doing, and as Pete Twist says, you know, you gotta enjoy the journey, right? And you know, there's days where the journey isn't so much fun, but you know, you gotta enjoy that part of it. Is it affecting your golf swing?
No, that's
Oh?
That's why I haven't done anything about it.
What about your broadcasting?
Well,
When you get excited and you push up on the bench?
I don't get excited.
Well, the odd time maybe, eh? The odd time.
Next time, come on.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. I feel mentally like I'm in a better place now than I was at 27, 28, because it seems like then I took on so much as a young player and, you know, took on so much responsibility that I really feed off some of the young guys in the room, the Kesslers and the BXs, and enjoy hanging out with those guys and talking with those guys, and, you know, it kind of keeps you in perspective a little bit. It goes by so quickly, you know. It's hard to think this is, when I hear that number, you know, 07, 08 season, I'm like, wow, 07, 08. We're almost through another decade here, you know, so. You know, I've trained with Pete Twist in the summers, and our running joke is that every year we get back together, and it's kind of like, geez, you're right in your prime. 30 this year is 37. 37's your, you know, that's where you hit your peak right there. And 5 years ago we were saying 32, that's where you hit your prime. So.
Job, Trevor, excellent. Job, Trevor, excellent. Good job.
I really believe that your mind is a powerful tool, you know, and if you start buying into that whole thing, you know, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. So. When you go into a season, I think the one thing that your one hope is that you can stay healthy, because it's just impossible to replace people, and you hope that that's the one thing you can't really control, that you need a little luck on. And seemed like from the start we got nicked up in training camp with Sammy going down, and then just was kind of one after another. And you know, you can fight through that for a while, as we did. We rallied as hard as we could, but you know, we never seemed to get in a rhythm, especially with our defense core. They just got banged up, and you know, it's a tough league. It's a tough division we play in, and you have to be firing on all cylinders, because it's a very thin line. There was nothing more devastating. The month of October didn't go real well for us, and then that game against Nashville, where, you know, and it wasn't just guys getting hurt, it was how they got hurt. I mean, the devastation of the type of injuries, you know.
Bieksa's hurt.
Yeah, I see that.
Kevin Bieksa can't get up in his own zone.
He's cut too.
Kevin, I mean, you know, possible career-threatening type injury, and you know, and just the magnitude of that, and you know, the kind of the bloodshed of Sammy's injury. And
Oh, Edler trying to advance and hit his teammate in the face. The defense that's already lost Kevin Bieksa, and this is not good.
we saw him after the game, and it's just kind of like, it's one of those things where normal injuries, you know, you bang a shoulder up or whatever, you kind of, you know, it's part of hockey, but to see the type of shape Sammy was in, and just and to have two of those guys go down in the same game and lose the game, it was devastating. And then, you know, we got down to Colorado and had a real good game, and just kind of picked it up from there, and really played well. Roberto had a great month and really stabilized our team.
Takes the shot, stopped by Luongo and knocked his stick out of his hands. In on goal, Gabbard Deets, stopped by the right pad of Roberto Luongo.
That's a beauty right there. Best of the night for Luongo.